Hello. Um, I am back here today, y'all, the day after the election. Remember, I didn't drop a show yesterday because we were all busy watching the election. And as of right now, we don't know what the exact outcome is going to be. But my prediction came true, or it's going to come true. Someone's going to win and someone's going to lose. And we do not want to be guilty of spreading election infection. But that got me thinking, can political rivals ever be friends? Do you think that that's even possible? Do you look at people today and say, there is no way that they could ever be friends? I do sometimes. I look back and I think of people that didn't like me. Now, I know that's hard to believe. I'm just kidding. There's plenty of people who probably didn't like me, and probably don't like me now. But we have people that we like and don't like. And sometimes as we change and our interests change, or we have children or anything like that, our friendships change. And we might look back at someone that we really didn't maybe care for back in high school or back in elementary school, or even first starting out in your job. And then all of a sudden you're like, wow, we're a lot more alike than we are different. So, hey, maybe we can be friends. So, I think if it works for us, it can work with other people. But I wanted to um, tell you that yes, they can still be friends. And there's a very, very famous pair of friends with a really, really cool story. Now, listen, this is not the cocktail conspiracy hour. That's coming tomorrow, and it's a good one. Let me just tell you, okay? This is not a full-blown background story lesson. I just think it's really neat to look at the concept that just because you rival each other politically does not mean that you can't mend fences. So let's look at old John Adams and Thomas Jefferson. Now, you've heard of them, I hope. If not, here's the skinny. Both founding fathers. John Adams, Massachusetts. Okay. Second president of the United States. First vice president of the United States. Thomas Jefferson, third president of the United States, second vice president of the United States, secretary of state under G. Dubs, George Washington. Okay. So these guys were both founding fathers, members of the Sons of Liberty. John Adams from Massachusetts, Thomas, a lawyer, Thomas Jefferson, a farmer from Virginia. And their stories began, and their story began in 1775 when they met up together at this Continental Congress. And Continental Congress is where these guys, the Sons of Liberty, were talking. They're like, now, we were just at first kind of trying to get representation over in Great Britain about all these taxes over here. I just want my voice heard. We've been kind of boycotting stuff and doing things on our own. I bet we'd be just fine if we declared our independence. So that's their meeting together in this heated excitement, this moment. And y'all been around people when everything's on the line and everybody's excited. You really don't care about their politics because you're all going towards the same goal. Okay, there's a bigger lesson in that, but we'll talk about that later. But they are both looking at getting independence from Great Britain. Now, July 4th, 1776. I know the date is sometimes disputed, but on this show for today, we aren't looking at that. July 4th, 1776, Declaration of Independence. Thomas Jefferson is the author. He is asked by John Adams to please be the author of the Declaration of Independence. Okay, so throughout this war, King didn't like that very much. King was like, Y'all are paying a lot of these taxes. Y'all are helping us make money. And y'all think y'all can beat us? Think again. Wrong, wrong, wrong. But so we win. Fast forward. The colonists win the war. They defeat the British, and now what? We've got to write a constitution, and we've got to have a president, and we've got to do all this stuff. Well, John Adams is elected to be the vice president under George Washington, and then he's elected again as the president 4 years later. Now, that's in 1796. Now, this was the time period, y'all. Can you imagine this? First place gets to be the president. Second place gets to be the vice president. I'm sure that would work out great right now because everybody just loves each other, sings Kumbaya. I mean, come on. We know that would not work. So their rivalry began then. See, when they were in the midst of the revolution and coming up with the peace treaty afterwards, they're both in France. They get to be friends. Okay, they are on the same team. They both are trying to get the French to be our allies. They're trying to work with other people to be our allies. They are on the same team. Okay, Jefferson's wife had, unfortunately, Miss Martha had passed away. So Abigail, who's a strong woman for John Adams, they brought Thomas Jefferson into their family. I mean, and they were close friends until the election of 1796. They ran against each other. Thomas Jefferson lost, became the vice president, so he didn't lose, but John Adams became the president, and thus began this. Okay. Y'all, there's a whole nother episode coming about this, but this is what I want to get to. The election of 1800, nasty, awful. You think politics are bad now? It was a lot worse then, except for back then, it just didn't sound as bad to what our ears would hear now because of all the thous and the shalls and the ifs and the and all that. So let's just say that it got super nasty. Personal attacks on each other done by people on their behalf. So they didn't speak. Jefferson becomes the president in 1800, and he stays the president through 1808. And the men do not have anything to do with each other until one of the other signers of the Declaration of Independence, named Benjamin Rush, started doing this almost gossip girl thing, where they're like, "Hey, John, Thomas was talking about you the other day. Sure would love to hear from you. Hey, Tom, John sure would like to." I mean, he's playing both of them, each other, saying, "Why don't you write a letter? This is wrong. Y'all shouldn't be, enemies right now." So John Adams writes Thomas Jefferson a letter. Jefferson writes back. And for all of these years, this is after he's out of office, they start writing letters to each other. They talk about what's going on. Now, Jefferson is more genteel. His are not inflammatory letters. They kind of agree to disagree. One is one political party, one is the other. Can you imagine people not getting along because of politics? Okay. They start writing letters back and forth, and there's hundreds of them. And the Library of Congress has copies of them. So they healed their friendship through letters. They were able to get back together, communicate, save a lot of things for the future of what they were thinking at the time. Why would we want this? Why did we think this way? Hey, it is like history overload to read those letters. Now, here's the thing. Both men are older, not feeling great, and I don't know what it was, but both of them wanted to outlive the other. Okay? Y'all, on July 4th, 1826, both Jefferson and Adams died on the same day, 50 years to the day of signing the Declaration of Independence. That is the truth. And although he did not know that Thomas Jefferson had passed away, John Adams' last words, from what we understand, were, "And Jefferson still lives." And that was his last word. That was his last sentence. 50 years to the day, July 4th, 1826, two of the signers of the Declaration of Independence, once wonderful friends, political rivals, back together again, die on the same day. Now, let me tell you something. It doesn't get better than that. Now, you know that that's a good story. Now, we've got a lot more coming up with Thomas Jefferson and old John, but join me tomorrow night for the conspiracy cocktail hour, because it's going to be a good one. It's going to be a good one. I hope you learned something new. And hey, you know what you can take from this? We don't have to be enemies. We don't have to hold grudges against people that we've been mad at all of our lives. We can be friends. And if we can't be friends, we can be civil. Can't we? If these two guys can, I think just about anybody can. All right, I'll see y'all tomorrow for the cocktail conspiracy hour. It's going to be a good one.